everybody, my name is Malika Lim, and we're sitting here with two fabulous folks, Joe and Josh from D3.
Hello. Hi.
I have a big, very important question. What are the 3 Ds?
Go for it.
I don't think I can answer that either.
So the idea of D3 in general is that there are 3 divisions of feeling and art, and the thing is about that is that it's actually from a Japanese company, so
What?
the 3 Ds are not English.
What? That's so interesting, though. Now I know so much more. So tell me, where are you guys based out of? How many people are working there? And what are the projects that you guys are most excited about?
So we're based out of Encino in LA, so West Coast, and
Best Coast.
yes, indeed. We've got about 20 people working in our office in particular. We're the publishing arm in the US of D3 Publisher. There's also a Japanese arm that does their own thing and things like
Cool.
that. They bring out Earth Defense Force and a bunch of other games and stuff, and we bring out, if the game's coming to the US, work on it here, and then we've got our own things going on too. Like I said, about 20 people out here, and then we worked with developers across the world on different games. So like Marvel Puzzle Quest, we're working with a group out of Boston, that's Demiurge, and then we're working with Octagon, that's in Brazil, on Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest as well. So we work with people all over on all different games, and then we got tons of stuff going on all the time. Like we've got these 2 games out right now, but we bring out new console games, new apps and things like that all the time too.
So you guys are like a secret big team, so it looks small, but you're like worldwide and global, a huge family.
Exactly.
Can you guys tell me a little bit about your role specifically?
Sure. I'm a producer. Well, actually, we're both producers, but our roles are slightly different. I'm a little bit more onto almost the dev side. I actually run also a small dev team that we have internally that do like smaller projects and things like that. So I do project management, like a normal producer, making sure we're within budget. And QA is doing what they need to do, and art's coming online.
Scope creep.
Like
No.
Exactly. But I also have to wear a ton of hats. So I'm also doing design, and I'm doing economy balancing, and I'm doing
cool.
scripting when it comes to it, and things like
Wow.
that. So if you name it in things that are needed to do in development, I've had a hand in it at some point. Whether I'm good at it or not,
Oh, it works.
Art, not my thing.
What about you,
I'm a
Josh?
senior producer, so I mostly manage the budget stuff and process and some of the scheduling as well. So I work with him on some of the internal scheduling stuff, but mostly he's the design and other fields. Then I mostly manage the Marvel and Magic games, as well as some other ones that we're not really allowed to talk about yet.
All right. Before we jump into the iPad and go into that little world, quick question. Are you guys specifically like a mobile development company?
Well, we're mostly doing mobile games right now. We have, sometimes we do something like Joe said with consoles, where we take something from Japan and release it in the US. So there's some things coming, but we can't even talk about them yet either.
But yeah, we're not mobile only.
All right.
The
Awesome.
things that we
are
concentrate
focusing a
on.
lot on mobile right now. But yeah.
So, what is this? I mean, I know this, but you tell me, what is this?
So Marvel Puzzle Quest is a game that's been around for now. It's going to be on its 5th anniversary this year in October. So we do big events around our anniversaries. But basically, Marvel Puzzle Quest is an iteration on a popular game we released about 10 years ago called Puzzle Quest.
Wait, back up. What is Puzzle Quest then?
Puzzle Quest is basically the same idea, where you play a puzzle board, but there's a lot more to it. It's basically an RPG game, so you can play as like a wizard or a mage in Puzzle Quest.
What?
And you're going on a really cool 2D map.
Wait, is there like a story and everything?
Spiders, yes, there's
What?
a story mode. And you, what's cool about these games is not only you're doing the puzzle, but you can see Jessica Jones's power. Her red power is flashing. That means she can come out and she slams her office door and messes people up.
Nice.
So we have a ton of animations in this game. Puzzle Quest was the same idea, where you would get enough mana together by matching the right colors together, and then you could throw a fire spell or something like that. But yeah, the Marvel one is basically that new version of the game, where you have 3 heroes that you get to choose a team of, and they have a lot of great synergy off of each other, where one character might feed your red power for another character or whatever. So there's a lot of really cool combos that people find.
So you're going into the strategy here.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that deep strategy?
I don't know. You
Yeah,
want to take a stab at that one?
so we've got over 150 characters in the game right now across all different
Wait,
tiers.
150 characters?
Yes.
I'm like, slow down, so much information.
Right. So some of them are like different variations on the same character. Like we've got multiple versions of Captain America, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man.
Like movie Doctor Strange, comic
Yes.
book Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Actually, we have both.
Yes.
For
So
a little while, we were doing 5 and 3 star versions. 3 stars for the newer players and 5 stars for the older ones. So the 5 stars more the comic book version, the 3 stars more of the movie version.
Wait, does more stars mean more power?
Definitely, yes.
Ah, so the comic book character is more powerful than the
Yes.
cinematic universe one? Interesting choice.
Yeah. But we also do buffs in the game all the time. Like every week we'll change over buffs for different characters across different
Got it.
tiers. So you can have a 3-star character that'll be powered up for that week. So now he's all of a sudden, or she, is as powerful as like a 4-star character. And so as you're building up power, you can kind of move out of your own kind of power level if you've got the characters that week that are powered up. So the power levels are obviously there, and the characters tend to get a little bit more complex as you go up in tier because you've been playing for longer and you kind of understand how the game works now and how the mechanics work. So we have a little bit more complexity as the game goes on with the power sets for those characters. So it starts out with a lot of characters just doing, hey, you have red energy, okay, you do some damage. Or
Got it.
you heal some stuff. Or you put down a countdown tile, which does some damage when it goes off. And then you have, 4-star, 5-star characters that might put down a tile that does repeater. So every 3 turns it does something and then puts something else on the board and then it'll fortify that tile. So if it gets matched, it stays. So all these mechanics can occur later in the game as you start getting used to things.
When you're playing this game, are you playing one hero at a time? Or are you playing your whole team?
So you choose 3 heroes in your team at any given time, and then certain events like this one, I'm in the Star-Lord versus event. So Star-Lord is automatically on my team, and then I can build the rest of my team around it. So if you don't have a Star-Lord, then we give you a loner. So if I wanted to, I could use the loner character who's got some basic skills and he's lower level. But if I have my own character, I can use him and use whatever powers and things like that that I've developed on my own. So usually if you've got the characters, you're better off using your version of it. But yeah, we still allow for players to still play the game even if they didn't happen to pull that character yet or anything like that.
All right. So do you have like a personal favorite character in the game?
One of our favorites is Peggy Carter. It's a character that's actually on the 50th year anniversary. Was it 50 or 75? I can't remember now. Maybe it was the 75. The 75th anniversary of Captain America. We were able to make our own version of Captain America. So what we did was Peggy Carter picked up the shield and actually Steve Rogers died. So,
that's so
yeah,
cool.
she's super awesome.
I
she's
love
in the
that.
game.
Retreat.
She's really tough, like a really badass player. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
And then so she throws the shield. And,
Well, we just had damning evidence go off earlier, so I hope we were allowed to show that.
So I'm really admiring the art that I'm seeing in the game. Some of my favorite superheroes are looking quite handsome and beautiful. Was this all original artwork that was made for the game?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
So we've gone through a few different artists with Marvel Puzzle Quest, but the original guy did a lot of great art. I think one of his last characters was Peggy Carter. That's her.
She looks dope.
She's so awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, so basically we have an artist who does a version of them. So we'll look at, sometimes the characters that we choose might have a little bit too sexy of an outfit. And we try to reduce that. And so we do some variations. So we look at different models and kind of come up with a version that takes the best of all the elements that we see from the comic book, from the movie world, and all that other stuff. So it just depends on the character. And then we do MCU versions and comic book versions like we already talked about. So yeah, we're all over the place.
All right. Important question. What is your community around the game like? And are they influencing some of the art and game design decisions and features that you're rolling out?
Definitely. So our community is great.
And where do they live?
So we've got, I'm all over the place, honestly. We've got, not that we run, but there's a Reddit channel that is doing great, and there's a lot of conversation there. There's a actually completely unaffiliated Discord channel that we hop into every now and then, and the
So they're
community
like
there is awesome.
self-organizing.
Right.
That's so exciting.
They're huge on Line, which Line is all its own little private groups and things, and then we have our own official.
Wait, you mean like Line messaging
Yes.
app?
So there's a bunch of Line groups that.
Wait. So where is this game most popular in the world? Because I know Line is huge in Asia, and when I come to the States, they're like, oh yeah, my Asian friends have that app.
So I would say our biggest player base is the U.S., but we are definitely worldwide. I mean, we have players all over the world and in decent numbers. It's not like, oh, okay, it's 95% U.S. and oh yeah, we got some. No, I mean we're pretty big around the world.
Cool.
So yeah, we've got a lot of Japanese players and a lot of Korean players and a lot of English players and French. So it's all over the place. Yeah, and we've also got like I was saying before, our official forums too. So
cool.
We've got communities all over the place, and we try to tap in and talk to the people across as much as we can. Obviously, with only so many people in the office, it's hard to keep up on everything, but we try our best there.
Can you think of any specific example of something the community asked for, or there was a great suggestion, and you're like, oh, it was in the next feature or the next update?
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Our 157, 158, the saved covers, if you want to go into that.
Yeah, we released a feature where if you have a cover for a character and you run out of, basically they go by, how many is the total again?
13?
13. So if you get 13 covers and you get an extra cover and you can't champion the character, which makes it stronger, then that cover can get wasted. So what we've done is we made a feature where you can save that cover and it goes towards your champion levels later when you champion the character, which was a great feature. And we started with a smaller number of ones you could save per character, and then we just opened it up to a lot for the community because they were like, it's not enough, So that's an example, like a recent example. But yeah, we do that kind of stuff all the time. So sometimes they give us balancing or even character designs or whatever, like for characters that they hope to see someday.
That's so
So we try our best to do whatever we can.
Yeah, because Marvel's such a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
So I heard about alliances. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, alliances are basically in-game kind of guild groups, I guess is what you would call it.
Cool.
So you can get together with up to 10, and they have a chat in there that you can actually chat with people, and you don't have to take personal information. So that people usually send off different strategies or something, or there's alliance versions of events where alliance goes in and fights what's a good one?
Ultron,
Ultron's-
Galactus,
yeah, Ultron's the
nice.
latest one. So we
Apocalypse.
did this big X-Men thing for our last anniversary. So Armageddon. Wait, no, what's his name?
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse, yeah. Apocalypse is one of the big bosses, and he's one where you go in with your whole alliance and face off against him, and everyone's contribution goes to your total, and you get better rewards as you keep earning and defeating.
Thanos just rocked me. That was no good.
Speaking of Thanos, are you guys in communications with Marvel Studios?
Yeah, we have a weekly meeting with Marvel. Not really Marvel Studios. We have a contact that goes to Marvel Studios. So right now we're actually
the things.
yeah.
We're gonna talk offline about some things.
Right now we've done something with the 10-year MCU
cool,
tie-in that's
yes.
going this month. So
Wait.
a lot of our covers have been changed to the MCU 10 covers that they have.
Oh, that's so cool.
And we have some new characters that are coming that I don't think we can talk about yet, but some of those characters are MCU related, and they're fan favorites. I think people will be super happy about.
So every character in the game has their own comic cover,
Yes.
which whenever possible we go directly from actual comics. So we choose kind of the best cover that works with that character to kind of show off, this is what that version of the character looks like. So even when we have different versions of Spider-Man, we'll choose, okay, well, this is Black Suit, so which cover works well for Black Suit?
Speaking
things
of,
like that.
National Spider-Man Day was yesterday, and I heard that you have lots of different Spideys. You even have
Yes.
Spider-Gwen?
Yes, we have Spider-Gwen in the game. Gwenpool, not really
Gwenpool.
Spidey, but Spidey Universe. We have, a bunch of different, non-Spider-Man, but we have Spider Universe, like Doc Ock's in the game, Vulture's in the game. So yeah, we've got a lot of Spider-Man content in the game in general.
While we're going through,
Yep.
Carol Danvers, that's one of my favorite
Oh,
characters.
cool.
But we also have a
Awesome.
free gift. If you go to d3go.com/free gift, you can get a Captain Marvel
All right, d3go.com
/free gift.
Yep.
/free gift. Well, thank you very much. Quick question. When you imagine somebody playing your game on their iPad or their phone, or actually when you imagine somebody playing this game, is it usually on a phone? Is it on an iPad? And what are they doing? Is this something that you play on the toilet, on the train, on a plane, when you're waiting for lunch? What kind of scenario did you imagine people
We
would be
have
playing
so
this
many
game?
players that it's all over the place. It's really hard. heard some funny stories like that, but most of the time it's just like, actually one of our most popular events is Deadpool Daily. So everyone comes up to us and says like, I gotta play Deadpool Daily today, because this is a great way for newer players to level up, to get characters like 3-star characters. It starts off low, like 1 to 2 stars are required. Then you can get up to 3 stars. This always gives you command points, which is up here, and that helps you get like the more tougher 4 and 5-star characters once you get into that realm. And then this one always has a reward of a 3-star character. So this today's is a Gambit.
Oh, one of my favorite characters.
That's the modern version. He's a 3-star character, and then we've also got the classic version, who's a 5-star
Do you
character.
have the animated series version?
Well, it's the classic
Kind of the
version,
classic,
yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da. I'm so excited. All right. Clearly, this is a very deep game. How long does like one session take usually?
I mean,
Depends, like what the combos I use, not very long, but like I would say, I don't know, under 5 minutes, right? Like,
yeah, for a given fight, sure. And then your session is however long you want to spend on that. I mean, if you want to do 10, 15 fights in a sitting, you can do that. If you just want to go in and clear out some nodes in a PvE event or whatever, that's fine too, and it might take you 10 or 15, and you can go away from it after that. And then there's also, there's PvE where you're fighting, different story-based events, so fight bosses or fight in stories that we have.
You only play superheroes, or do you also play super villains?
Yes, villains as well. So Doc Ock's in there,
Okay.
Green Goblin. We've got tons of villains all throughout.
So
you can
he
play
could
as
like
Thanos.
team up with Spidey and reconcile in your own little version of the game.
yeah, I guess you could do that. Yeah, come up with whatever story you want for them playing with against each other.
I want to open it up to some questions from the chat room. We have.
There weren't many questions.
Okay.
One person did ask what do the 3 Ds mean, which you guys asked earlier. Someone also asked, is it like the 15 Goku in Dragon Ball Z? I don't know.
Yeah, so Dragon Ball Z Fighters has like 15 versions of Goku in the game.
I
So
don't think we've gotten that bad.
yeah, there's. I mean, if you want to count Peggy and Falcon, Captain America, we've got 7 Caps in the game now. But like that's if you count all the variants and
And
things,
all their
so.
like individual stats are very different, though.
Yes,
It's not just like a
definitely different.
So
cosmetic
we have like a
thing.
1-star version, a 2-star version, a 3-star, all the way up to 5-star.
Yeah, and then we might have multiple 5-stars. Like Captain America has 2 different 5-star versions, but they both play very differently. Because one's based after his, Infinity War. I've been cast out of the Avengers, doing my own thing, and his skill set revolves around that. And then the other one is more like Avengers style Cap. So he's, leading the team, front line type thing. So both of them, although they're Cap, feel different.
So, not to cut you off, but this is not the only Puzzle Quest game you have, right? So you have Puzzle Quest, you have Marvel Puzzle Quest, and then you have another Puzzle Quest game?
Yes. We have Magic Puzzle Quest.
So that is so interesting to me. How do you bring a game to a game, right?
So well, this one's really fun because what's great about this one is it's the same idea as the puzzle game, right? But what you're doing in this one is instead of playing land cards like you would in a card game, you're matching the gems to use for mana for your cards. So it's pretty easy concept, I guess, but it's executed really well. It's fun to play.
Yeah.
So what's great about this one is players like Magic, they can't bring their card set on a plane or whatever, then they can do this and they can grab, basically collect all the cards from the different year, up to Origins. From Origins on, we've been releasing card sets. So there's a ton of cards in the game. There's a ton of Planeswalkers too. So right now we're at Johnny. But basically, he's got his own abilities, just like in Puzzle Quest, Marvel Puzzle Quest, that you can save for and release. And then you've also got your hand here that you can manipulate by moving cards up and down.
Oh,
and you collect them
cool.
all. You can customize your hand. It's based off of 10 cards in this. So basically, you have up to 10 cards to play with of creatures, supports, and all these other things.
So I have so many questions. First of all, these are the art from the cards, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
you're able
this
to.
one we're not doing the same thing as Marvel. This one we're using the cards from Wizards. We work with Wizards. So.
Well, they just have the
Yeah,
most
their art's
amazing,
amazing, yeah.
beautiful art.
Yeah.
And
Why redo perfection?
Yeah.
right? My thoughts exactly. And how have Magic players responded to this kind of addition to Magic the Gathering as this
I think,
mobile experience?
There's two sides. There's the side of people that they like it because they love the card game, so they like having a version that they can play by themselves without their cards. They love the idea of that. Then we also get people that are like, I don't really play the game anymore, but I like playing it just because it reminds me of the fun moments I had. So yeah, I mean, we get both of those.
So when you're talking about Marvel Puzzle Quest, you're telling me there's maps, there's nodes, you can do PvE. Can you elaborate more on just all the different gameplay modes in Magic Puzzle Quest?
Magic, we have PvE modes and PvP modes. It's not direct PvP. It's basically you're playing against another player's hand, and the AI controls it.
There's a term for that.
Yeah, I forgot what it was.
Asynchronous multiplayer.
That is indeed what it is.
There's the chat room.
Yeah,
You're wrong.
Well, you say it, not me. Just kidding. So yeah, we have PvP modes and PvE modes, and then same thing with Marvel, where we have a coalition. And this is what it's called. It's the same thing as the Alliance mode, where you can do different versions where you're fighting against giant monsters and collecting things as a group. Yeah, it's all the same kind of idea.
Cool. So maybe I've been living in a cave my whole life, and I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, but I'm intrigued by the art, or I'm like, I like dragons and fairies, like, why would I be interested in this game?
Basically, it's a puzzle game, but it's got a lot more to it. So if you like a puzzle game that's a little bit more than just like Candy Crush or something, where you have a lot more to do, like you can level up your guy that you choose, your guy or girl planeswalker.
So are you only playing as one, or are you building teams?
You've got a whole bunch of planeswalkers that you can choose from. So, and that actually affects the PvP mode, because you'll go into a black node or a white node, and you have to choose those colored planeswalkers. So each planeswalker is focused on a color.
Got it.
But basically, yeah, it's just a puzzle game that's got RPG elements and a lot of depth to it, rather than just get through this level and play the next level. This one has a lot more depth to it, a lot more strategy, and if that's what you're into, then, I mean, we have people that don't know Magic either, and they love the game.
Speaking of, what kind of players has this game attracted?
This one is probably a little bit more core than Marvel, because Marvel is, the movies are so popular and the license is so big, and Magic is a little bit more, I would say,
mechanically complex.
Yeah, to get into, because you really have to look at your cards and stuff. Like, one of my favorite characters is Liliana, because she has a lot of zombies and does a lot of things with zombies. So you have to choose a card set that's about zombies and like bringing more zombies out, because they all trigger off of each other. So there's some things you learn them in the game. So if you don't know those things, you can learn them. But yeah, I mean, it's like there's a lot more strategy.
Speaking of strategy, do you have a favorite card, character, feature in the game, Josh?
Well, so
Josh, sorry, I looked at Joe,
no
but
which do you want?
Joe, Josh.
So I tend to like white decks overall in this game, which is weird because I'm normally.
What does that mean?
So in Magic, each of the colors has kind of a different feel to how they play, and in normal cards, I actually tend toward like red and black, which is more destruction and raising dead and things like that. But the white decks are a little bit more protection and kind of healing and defense and things, and I find that it works a little bit better in the Magic Puzzle Quest version of the game to kind of use white decks. So Gideon's one of my favorite planeswalkers in the card game, whereas in the digital game, whereas in the card game I more tend towards black and red planeswalkers or colorless and things like that. So it's a little bit different feel.
So it sounds like actually this game has given you kind of a new perspective at looking at Magic the Gathering, and also kind of a new maybe like even gameplay style. Because of the addition of the Puzzle Quest.
Yeah, most definitely. Even though it is based off the cards originally, the cards themselves here have a very different feel to them sometimes, because sometimes the mechanics just don't quite transfer over. So we do some spins on the cards and things like that. And when that starts happening, pretty quickly you come to a thing where the game just feels a little bit different, even if you're playing the same cards or the same hand as you would in the card game. So it definitely provides a new perspective on the game itself, even if you're totally used to playing the card game and every card, frontwards and backwards.
Sure. Speaking of all this strategy stuff, people are probably getting really competitive about this, right?
Yes.
So what does that competition look like? Are people finding each other online?
Yeah, actually, we have a Facebook page that we found actually from the fans that's pretty awesome because they'll do things where they, so there's certain combos you can do to make the cards stack on top of each other. So like the numbers will go up. Right here, it has a 4-4. Some people have gotten those up to the hundreds, and they take screenshots and send them around. So that's pretty fun.
Wow,
like
that's
different combos
interesting.
of cards just comboing off each other and causing these cascades of characters coming out on top of each other. It's pretty awesome.
And are people releasing like, this is how I build my deck?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you guys see a deck or a way people were playing that surprised you?
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like we QA the game and stuff, but people still find ways because they're playing it so much more than even our QA does that sometimes they'll find ways that we have to actually try and fix because they break the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff kind of happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we can spend hundreds of hours in QA, and then, the first 2 hours that new build is out, it's, 10 times the amount of playtime that we've just had. So
there was a carriage that came out it was basically indestructible, and everyone just started using it, and it was like, I guess we gotta fix that because it's like impossible to fight.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that happen.
So all these games are free to play, right? So is that really free to play? Can I have fun and not spend money?
It is free to play. You can play and earn everything in the game. In this game,
Everything.
you get pretty much.
That's amazing.
In this game, you get free 3 cards every few hours, like a little booster deck, and then you earn a lot of in-game currency by playing the PvE and PvP modes, and then you can spend those to get more cards. And the same with Marvel, where you can get in-game currency by defeating other players or PvE modes or whatever, and then you can buy comic covers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of the play style that a lot of our players have, where it's not, play to win type things, where we have a lot of players that are completely free to play, never spent a cent, and they're still competitive in the game, and they're able to do that. It takes a little bit of a different play style, obviously.
Sure.
I mean, but it's totally doable, and we have quite a few players that are doing it. And what's great about our community too is that people like that will talk to us and say, hey, here's how I'm playing the game, and this is how I'm maintaining that kind of thing. So that way when we do new features and new things like that, we can make sure that we keep those people around, because it's a great part of the player base that we want to have going.
Cool. So say I'm in the chat room right now and I'm fired up for both of these Puzzle Quest games, but I'm kind of scared that my strategy might not be good enough, or is it too late for me to join the game? I know I've felt that way as a gamer before. Like, what kind of advice do you have for them? And is it too late for them to join the game?
I don't really believe so, especially either one of them. Marvel, I don't believe so, because we were doing the 3 and 5 stars for a while, releasing 3-star characters to get players going. I think Marvel might be a little bit more overwhelming just because it's been around for almost 5 years, but we try our best to keep it at a level. We have shield clearance levels in the games where basically you're playing against people in your tier. Magic's the same way, where depending on how many cards you have, you level up as you get more cards. So if you have less cards, you're going to be in the same level as other players with the same amount of cards, and your Planeswalker level. So
are there also alliances in the Magic Puzzle Quest?
Yeah, they're called coalitions.
Okay, so how would I find a coalition or an alliance?
It's pretty easy. You can go in and just go through the list of anyone that's open and just select one.
And people won't be like, boo, get out of here.
I don't know. I mean, it's all over the place. I don't really believe so. I've never really seen it, but if you don't play a lot, then people might be like, hey,
useless
we're gonna
member,
boot you.
bye.
Yeah. They might do that, but that's just for the hardcore groups, because I've been in some groups, because when we work on them, like sometimes I'll focus more on Marvel than I will on Magic, because I'm playing them too when I'm as we're working on them, but we might do something where Marvel's doing a big thing, so I might not play Magic, and we don't, I haven't gotten kicked out of some of the guilds I was in, or coalitions. So it just depends.
Sure. So I assume there is audio to these games. It's muted for this interview, but is there voice acting and stuff?
Well, we have a couple sound effects in Marvel, but we don't have any VO really. I mean,
other than
so it depends on the character. So Hulk, I think wasn't it Hulk that had a growl or a slam, because he does this big crazy slam in the middle of the screen. So some of them have something small.
Okay, cool. Maybe some more questions from the Twitch chat.
There's not any questions.
Do you have a question for us up here?
Myself? What's your favorite thing about Magic the Gathering? Like, why do you play it on your own time?
I like to play like as Liliana with all the different zombies, and I like the art and the synergy it has. What I like about Magic that I think is different about Marvel is sometimes you'll see like 4 of a kind of colors that you would need to match, but you're so focused on trying to get your character to bring out the planeswalkers that if he had a red or a black or something that just doesn't work with him, then you wouldn't want to match a 4 of a kind because you would rather go for a white to bring something out. So you can see down here, black and red don't give them any bonus for matching. So I just like it more in terms of, for me, it's just one planeswalker to worry about with all the cards, whereas the Marvel characters is 3 heroes, and I always just play the synergy, like whatever I have, and hope the synergy works. Whereas, players that have a bigger, robust amount of characters, they'll choose characters that all play off of each other, and I try my best, but it doesn't always work out for me because I'm still like not fully there with my roster. But as Magic, I fully have like a few things that I go to that I really enjoy.
So since I'm sitting with the developers right here, what are all the tips and tricks and things that people get wrong when they first start?
Yeah, I mean, for Marvel, there's a lot of things that you can do in the game to kind of help yourself, give yourself like a leg up. One of the things that players quickly find out is that there's a lot of characters in the game, and they want to have all those characters available. So some players will spend some of their starting currency on like new characters, and it's like, actually, you want to get more slots for those characters to fill in. So getting more roster slots in order to make sure that those new characters that you get, you can
because
roster
then you're
up.
going to be like, oh, know where I'm going to put them.
Right.
It's like your bag.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something that helps out a lot of players, that when they're starting out, that they can just kind of roster up characters and kind of build that collection and things. And especially for a lot of people that are playing both of these games, we tend to get a lot of the collector type people. The gotta catch them all type people. So being able to just get everything.
It's called being a completionist.
Yeah.
And then with Magic, you really want to focus on what you like, whatever you see in the game that you like. So if you like elves and you want to be a green-focused planeswalker user, then you want to try and get green-focused elf cards and stuff like that. So it just depends on what you're
Is
focusing
there
on.
trading with other players? No. Darn.
Good question. Chat.
Sure.
Sure.
Someone named Jocelyn has a question. Do you have any favorite characters in the games?
Oh, well, you want to go or you want me to?
Sure.
First?
So in Marvel Puzzle Quest, Peggy Carter is pretty fun. Again, we were responsible for it.
What makes her fun?
So she's got a kind of a good mix of kind of like passive abilities that help out your team, and she's also pretty strong on offense just to begin with.
Got
So
this
she's
punch
really
that just
versatile.
goes right through defense, which is awesome.
But my favorite character to use is America Chavez. So she is a completely passive character. She has no active abilities that take any of your ability points, but basically it completely changes your play style, because instead of gaining enough ability points to use a certain ability or whatever, you're trying to pool it all, and then she starts creating critical tiles, which are wild card tiles on the board, and she'll start like doing extra damage per match and everything like that. So it's like one of those kind of cascade things. It's like, okay, I started to get a little more powerful, and now I'm just gonna punch you.
That sounds super fun for the player and like super annoying for the opponent.
It can be, but like I said, it takes a completely different play style. It takes a different mindset to play the game, and that's one of the things that I love about some of the characters that we've got in Marvel, where it's just like all of a sudden I have to think differently to play. Okoye has something where she uses team-up energy in order to make the other people's abilities do more damage. So normally a lot of players ignore team-up AP, but then all of a sudden you've got her in your team, and it's like, okay, well now if I match that, then I can do this ability over here, and all of a sudden you're thinking differently, and your tactics have completely changed.
That sounds like another pro tip, is to really consider these other characters that can buff up your heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What about you?
For Marvel, I mostly play with Black Panther and Thanos.
Yes.
And the reason
Is that
why
because
they work really well together,
Okay.
which is awesome. And Doctor Strange as well. It's just like a crazy combo because 5-star Thanos, when you kill somebody, he makes death come out and just like hurt everybody.
my
And then
gosh.
that makes Black Panther go off into the shadows to hide because he got damaged a certain percentage. And then he
What?
comes out and slashes
Oh
and he
my
kills somebody else, and then Thanos kills everyone again.
Wait, does he
So
have
it's
like the
pretty awesome.
gauntlet?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's too overpowered, guys.
So yeah, that one's usually like what I go to the most because for PvE it just destroys everything. But I do like to play with Captain Marvel because she's got this really great ability where you put down a tile that's a countdown tile and it does a lot of damage when the countdown ends. But then you've also got an ability that ends the countdown tile early, so you just can like destroy people because it does a ton of damage. So she's another one of my favorites.
Oh, cool. What was your favorite character to work on, if that is a different response?
Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
For me.
Uh,
What would you say?
Or maybe
Howard
even
the
like
Duck was pretty cool too.
Yeah, and in the same vein, so Howard the Duck was a like special character that we brought out. So it's a limited character. You can't always get
I've
him.
not heard about this duck. Tell me more.
Was there a great 80s movie?
Yes, wonderful 80s movie. Need a sequel.
No, Howard the Duck was a really cool experience because we actually got the guy that wrote the comic book and the guy that did the art for the
neat.
original comic book to actually do the character for us in the game. So we
Oh,
designed all the powers and
cool.
everything. So he's really fun. He's got one where he just basically yells at the other team as a power, which is super awesome. But yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, and then we have one of my favorite to work on was Devil Dinosaur, which is another limited character. I just happened to be limited, but he was a lot of fun to work on. So again, it's like you have a dinosaur in the game.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with him? So he actually started out as an NPC in just one mission in one of the story events.
Oh, that's so cool. So you like developed him.
Right, and again, that was completely because of community.
Oh,
Community
that's so
looked at the character and was
cool.
like, "Can we play as this guy? We want
Oh,
him."
that's
So for
amazing.
our first anniversary or second anniversary, we brought him out as a playable character. So we redesigned his powers a little bit, and made him fully playable because he was kind of like a an add-on guy originally,
Cool.
and now full on in the game and fun. He's a little bit more niche-y, like he's not a normal character that you'd have in every
Sure.
team, but he's still a lot of fun to play whenever you
And the
can.
game's been out for 5 years, so it was really cool that you were able to turn that NPC into a playable character. Quick question about both of the games. Can you talk about what's on the horizon? What's coming out? What are you most excited about? Or stuff that just came out, if you can't.
Well, for Magic, we have the core set of the M19 that just came out, like literally this week.
Oh, cool.
That's over 200 and something cards. We have a bunch of Planeswalkers coming that are going to be staggered. So yeah, we have a lot of content with that, a lot of story events and other things that are coming.
Yeah, that will support the core set. So one of the great things about Magic is that we'll pretty much be day and date with the releases on the actual Magic cards and things like that. So the new core set came out, we've got the cards in the game and everything. So the new expansion comes out, we got new cards and new art, and new Planeswalkers, and we can constantly keep up on that.
Oh, nice.
So that players that do both the card game and the Match 3, they kind of have a little bit of synergy there, and they know kind of going into one or the other, oh, okay, this is a card that I'm going to want to chase, or this is, a card in the game that I want to chase, and things like that because of either side of how it works.
Wait, now you're telling me all about these new cards and I'm anxious. Is this one of those games where you like retire heroes and cards and things?
Sort of,
I don't know.
yes. But so it depends on the events, because there's story events that are, okay, well, we're doing a new story event with a new release.
Sure.
So you have to use cards within that story event. But then we have events that are, okay, classic, use whatever the heck you want, or, things like that. So yes, but not
So
I
really.
think
it's not-
mostly the card side because, like I said, I really like I think the third Liliana we brought out because it's
Okay.
all about zombies, and I've been using her, and she's been out for a while. And then Soren is another older
Yeah,
character.
I
and
use Soren all the time.
too. They're awesome.
So there aren't anything that players from 5 years ago have that new players can't get anymore.
No,
Okay.
it's all on on recycle. So we bring out the old players, characters that players want them.
Mhm. Yeah.
I was getting worried.
And then Marvel, we've got the, right now we're celebrating the Marvel 10-year anniversary for the
Yes.
MCU. So we just put out a new build of the game, which has new features and like the loading screen's all new. And then we have the new comic covers and things like that that we switched out some of the characters for. So we're celebrating that, and we've got a lot of stuff planned for that kind of celebration. So like the comic cover changeover was a small thing, the loaders changeover is a small thing. We've got characters that are coming out that are kind of fan favorites from the Marvel movie universe.
What are the fan favorites?
So those change all the time because as a result
the movie will come out and
right, which displaces things and like, oh, we didn't even know Shuri was going to be a thing. I guess let's put Shuri into the
she's such a badass.
right. But
awesome.
before that movie came out, we wouldn't have thought of putting her. But no, now she's a character in the game and everything like that. So that changes a lot. But yeah, a lot of times we'll listen to the community and what they're saying.
That's
Hey,
really wonderful.
what's the next character that we have? So we've got characters that are on our list for release that are a direct result of that kind of thing. And there are some characters that it's like, we can't be sure if it's a fan favorite because fans actually want the character or if it's a fan favorite because it's become a meme at this point. So like, we got always high on the list is Dazzler. And it's like, do you actually want Dazzler in the game or are you just saying
Yes.
Dazzler because Dazzler?
Both? Or are certain cards, like, do you have analytics like, oh, probably because the stats are really good on this card for most play styles or that kind of thing?
Yeah, we definitely look at all that stuff when we decide on a rebalance or a new character, like what's doing well and why we want to bring that one out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially like it was probably a year and a half now, we redid the tutorial. And we were like, okay, well, what should we do for the tutorial? And we saw that players were using the 3-star Spider-Man a lot. And we're like, okay, well, let's redo the tutorial and we'll bring out a new 1-star Spider-Man so that players have something new and new players have something different. And if they're using the 3-star, then new players are obviously going to want the 1-star to start with. So we'll do things like that where it's like directly because of the analytics, not even necessarily fan favorites. It's like, we know these numbers work, so fans obviously want it even if they're not saying so.
Sure. So how do you determine who you're going to add next?
A lot of things. Mostly it's because of an MCU release. But on top of that, it would be, we actually do polls too, where players will say which ones they like.
In the app?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it's a combination of both of those.
So do you have any polls up right now?
No, not right now.
Okay.
We concluded one relatively recently, which has got still characters on our release schedule that were because of that.
And who was on that poll?
Well, it was one of the kind of open polls where it's like, who would you like to see? So that's
So
again where it's like,
who won?
everyone wants Dazzler? What the heck?
Is it really?
She was pretty high up on the list.
Okay.
And then we have
who
a
was
lot
number
of.
one?
I think on that one was Cable, right? Yeah. I mean, the thing is like I said, we got 150 characters in the game. So even when you take out variants, we still have, I think, 112. So when you get that number, it's like, okay, well, Cable's really high on the list, but that's only because we already did, Doctor Strange with people, and you go down the list and you start, Cable's still a really popular character, but when you start ranking in popularity according to other characters we got out, you're starting to get into lower A tier at this point. So there's still a lot of characters, like Cable, Dazzler, maybe. And then you have like weird ones that will pop up every now and then, like when we released Howard the Duck and we did a poll right around then. I think it was because Howard the Duck's kind of like a kind of jokey character, just like in Marvel Universe, that our next poll had Spider-Ham as like one of the top 3. So it's like, all right, well, we're already doing this black suit Spider-Man, so I don't know about Spider-Ham, but all right, put it on the backlog, we'll see. So you have things like that where it's like,
Suddenly becomes the most powerful hero in the game.
Right.
Sure, but then you have the next poll and Spider-Ham drops off, so it's like, did people really want that?
Or was it just all the troll votes?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
What should we name this boat? Bodie McBoaterson?
Like everybody in the subreddit, hey guys, put Spider-Ham. Yeah. Upvote. So, Magic the Gathering, Marvel, huge IP, huge legacies. What was it like to inherit that mantle?
Heavy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been one of those dream come true type things, like being able to work with Marvel and having weekly calls and the things that you find out about the future of Marvel and things like that because you need to be able to plan for it. No, I don't want the Marvel ninjas sicked on me. But like things like that, it's just like it's so interesting to be able to work with a huge franchise like that. But like I said, it's heavy because there's a lot of room for the second thoughts and like, is this really what we need to be doing right now? Is this like is this a character that we want to bring out that will work well with what Marvel's kind of pushing forward and is going to work well with our own thing and like what we have planned and everything like that. So it's a lot of deeper thought than we do if we were like, okay, well, what are we doing on our own franchise in here, and kind of doing your own thing, because you have this extra responsibility towards it.
And so you're saying you were a Marvel fan from like
I've
forever.
been reading Marvel comics since I was 3 years old, 4 years old. Like obviously starting out with pretty much X-Men, because everyone started out with X-Men.
Yes.
But like my grandma actually used to have I don't even know what they called them, trades at the time, but they were like big collections of just like stories. So she had like not
a
Marvel,
lot of
but, like,
issues mushed together.
yeah, but she had like Dick Tracy and stuff like that. So I started reading
cool.
that, and then she brought me to the library after I started reading some of those things, and then I found out that there were Marvel versions of these, and it's like, my brother reads X-Men all the time, so I'm going to get this classic
cool.
X-Men, thing, and just went from there. Nowadays I read trades pretty much every time they come out. I'll pick up the newest trade, because it's tough for me to go down to the comic store every week and get the new polls, and it's just...
But you can read them on your iPad when you're not playing your game, right?
Yeah, that's true. Digital polls nowadays. It feels a little different reading a digital comic book for me, though. I like having the paper, so
And,
maybe I'm just old-fashioned.
Josh, it sounded like you were a Magic the Gathering player before even... No?
When I got
So you
hired,
play,
I started
so
playing
you're like,
Magic.
oh, I gotta learn up on
No,
this.
so I got hired. Joe left for a little bit, and I took over Marvel and Magic, and then he came back, so we're using him again on Marvel and Magic. I started playing the card game to learn about this license, and that's how I got started with it. But yeah, it's fun.
Oh, amazing. So you guys have a booth here at Gen Con this year? What is that like? What are you showing off?
We show both of these games, which both of them do really well. Like Marvel, we have a bunch of fans that come up and they get a raffle ticket where we give off like $100 worth of in-game currency.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So if you're in Indianapolis today.
Come on
and then
by.
for Magic, it's the same thing. But what's great about this particular event is we get a lot of people that play Magic because it's a board game convention, with a lot of Magic users. They come by and they go, oh, I didn't know this existed. Or there's people that have been playing the old Puzzle Quest game. They're like, oh my God, Puzzle Quest is still here. So we get a lot of different angles.
Like community meetups, like, I've met you in person now.
Yep. Yeah, we get that
that's
a lot too.
amazing.
We actually just got that today with one of the... Oh yeah, I'm on the forum.
That's so
okay.
cool. The power of gaming people. It brings them together. And if you're not at Gen Con this year, where can we find out more? Where can we get more free goodies again? Where can we follow you on social media?
I think the best place is d3go.com, so it has links everywhere else. I don't know the links of if you want to do like Twitter or anything, I don't know.
We are on Twitter. Marvel Puzzle, MTG Puzzle Quest.
All right.
So Marvel Puzzle and
At Marvel Puzzle.
Yes, and at MTG Puzzle Quest.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
But yeah, d3go.com and /forums. So that's where our forums are. We have them for every game that we release. So if you want to go on there and talk about Marvel Puzzle Quest or Magic or...
Do you guys have other things on the App Store besides?
We do. We have one of our first internal games called Adventure Gnome that's out.
Ooh, congratulations.
Yeah.
I know that's so hard to
We
like.
also have an Adventure Time Puzzle Quest game. But,
What?
yeah.
But that's so cute. You should have brought that up. Oh, that's amazing. Well, I don't know if anybody's going to give me the eye for time. All right, beautiful. So what do you guys want to tell the internets?
You can start with that one.
So one of the things that we get questions about a lot, because it is a kind of a match 3 game, like either of these are match 3 games. So the first thing people see is,
Another
it's
match 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Candy Crush, isn't it? Well, actually, Puzzle Quest was out before Candy Crush. But
Sure.
it's give them a shot, not because, hey, come play our games, but yeah, come play our games. But really, the games are complex, they are in-depth, and there's a lot to do in them. And they're also, at the same time, if you just want to go in and match some colors and do stuff, like, as I'm playing this, I'm not really, like, A, it's really hard to play upside down.
Right.
But B, I'm not really managing my deck and things like that. But if you're noticing, I'm not doing too incredibly badly here. I could be doing better, but not doing too incredibly badly. And that's even just kind of paying only half attention to the game and talking. So it's something that you can do when you're doing something else to just kind of play the game. So all kinds of people can come and play our games and can enjoy them in different ways. So you can be in-depth and complex and go, who do I want on my team? Which Planeswalker do I want for this specific event? Which version of that Planeswalker do I want? Because they have different powers and different deck strategies. Or you can just go in and say, I like the green person. She does stuff with forests, and you can go in and build a deck and just kind of play.
Sure.
So it takes all kinds of players.
Same thing with Marvel.
Yeah.
Just if you like Spider-Man, you just go in and get Spider-Man.
Just
and
make Team
play and have fun.
Spider-Man and
Yeah.
all Spider-Man on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's as deep as you want it to be.
Well, it sounds like, Puzzle Quest has been around for over 10 years.
10
Yep.
And Marvel Puzzle Quest has been around for over 5 years. And Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest has been around for
Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
almost 3 years. There's something here, guys.
Yes.
And how is being on the App Store for that long change? Because that must be crazy. Because there's all this new stuff.
Yeah, but we, I think because we do all the tie-ins with the Marvel movies, there's a lot of tie-ins that we get sucked into, which is great with Marvel and Disney because of all of that stuff. And then with Magic, it's we actually have a lot of synergy with the Magic license, so people will see on their website a notice or
Oh,
something
cool.
and things like that. So we get promoted in various different ways with the different licenses. The Marvel is definitely obvious because of how big it gets on the App Store, like around a movie release.
Sure. And then
Which
it'll
is
get like
awesome.
featured or
Yeah,
something.
totally.
Check it out again.
Yeah.
And what would you like to tell the interwebs, John?
I don't know.
Come visit you guys at the Gen Con booth.
Yeah.
Are you doing any like events or
Well, so we're at 2822.
28,
So
22?
2822. And we are running a daily raffle for players of the game for both
Yes.
Magic and Marvel
Cool.
for in-game
Even
currency.
if I just download the app right now?
Yes.
Yeah, you can still
Okay.
go.
Yep.
You might have to get through part of the tutorial, but yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, so we're doing that daily, and then we're also doing, as we were saying before, the d3go.com/free gift for Marvel, where you can get a free 3-star Captain Marvel cover, so Carol Danvers.
Yay!
And then for Magic, we have, if you're at the show and you haven't downloaded the game before, we've got a card with a download code, so you can get a free rare card just to start yourself
Nice.
out.
And life counters.
Yeah, and free Magic life counters to use for the
What?
card game.
That's so cool. Okay, definitely. I have to hit up your booth and get some swag.
Yes.
2028?
2822.
28, 22.
Right across from Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls board game, Marvel 5 Minutes, and Hail Hydra over at Spin Masters, so we're right across from them.
Okay, amazing.
Right next to Kingdom Death, too. So, yeah, if you see the line for people trying to buy Kingdom Death stuff, just go one row over, and we're right there.
And I get this question a lot because I'm also a game designer. If you could just give like a snippet of advice real quick for people who want to be like you and they want to do what you do and play games all day. I mean make them.
Sure, we just play games all day. But really, honestly, practice.
Practice.
And
But how?
I don't mean just play games, but I
Sure.
do mean that too. Play games that aren't even part of the genre that you're looking at. Like, I want to be a designer of role-playing games. Fine, go play Madden. Because there's things that you can learn from every game and every genre, even if it's little things. And play different games, even if you're not interested in them. Go play Candy Crush. There's millions and millions of people playing it. Well, there's something to that game. So if you
Sure.
want to design games, you better know what that thing is. You know, play this. Play this not because we want you to play it, we do, but play it because it's different than the Magic card game,
Yeah.
even though it has the Magic feeling. Well, figure out why that is and see, the design choices that brought that to life.
Sure.
Because it makes a huge difference in what you want to do.
Or even between the Marvel and the Magic.
Yeah, exactly.
versions.
So again, match threes, yeah, sure, but they play quite a bit differently. So figure out why that is and play different games within the same genres, and then practice that. So if you want to practice something, make some platformer game levels, like make a Mega Man level or make something else. If you have the chops and you want to try it, try putting it into a Mega Man game or something like that, that has a level editor or something.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of great tutorials and stuff online. Like Unity has a lot of free
Are these
places.
made in Unity?
This one is.
This one is, yes.
Marvel is not. So Magic is Unity, the other one isn't. Marvel is a proprietary one that Demi Jones. But yeah, I think learning all the different things that you like about making a game is probably the best way to start. Is just going in and trying out level designing tools, and Unity has a bunch of free programs. So maybe you're like an artist and you're not really sure you want to be a full artist. You could go to a tech artist role. Or you might just really enjoy programming, So it just depends on, you just got to try them all out and see which one sticks with you.
Definitely. I mean, when I originally got into the industry, I originally wanted to be a translator, and then I found out that translation makes my brain bleed. I can do it, I just don't like it. And then worked into production, and production is it's awesome. It's what I want to do. But I didn't realize that until I had done stuff.
Yeah, our role is basically being semi-good at multiple things.
Yeah,
Whereas we're not like really like one thing specifically. We just have to fit a role whenever it's needed, or help fit a role.
Yeah, so I'll do game design, and then the next day I'm managing QA, and the next day I'm doing this, and the next day I'm doing that. Next day
How do you keep your priorities straight? This is very interesting to me.
Next day
Get used to
he's
it.
sitting on the guitar strumming out some audio for a
that's
game
so
coming up and
cool.
stuff. So
Because you guys are a small team, but a big team.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we fill multiple roles.
But I mean, that's again practice and try things, because we wouldn't realize what we're good at and what we're able to do without giving it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. So real quick, can I ask you, Josh, how you got into the industry? Because it was so interesting to hear it from Joe.
I started at THQ as a tester actually, and then moved up to being a producer from there.
Amazing. So we have like
Years
about
ago.
4 minutes left. All right. Wait, what was that?
I wasn't paying attention.
It was like a beautiful like stained glass thing. So you've got cards for your
Gideon is beating the ever-loving snot out of me.
Okay.
Oh, that's a support that went out. Okay.
So you have cards for your characters, and then
Yeah.
you have cards to support those characters.
Yeah, so when that support came out, you can see it here. It brought out a bunch of different things. So some
like trying to
creatures and
read.
added some addition. I know it's hard to read upside down, but it gives you
Sideways.
additional stacking damage and defense. So basically, one side is defense and one side is attack. So if somebody hits this guy for 6 damage, it would only take 6 off of the 11. So it wouldn't kill it, but it does 11 damage when it attacks something.
Right, and then if you don't know what the characters do, you can always tap on them and find out. It shows what their casting cost is, shows what their abilities are. I don't know what this icon is.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
Tap it and find out.
Oh okay.
So even if you don't know what's going on, you can figure that out by just tapping on stuff. And then we kind of get you into things slowly, so a lot of the cards that you have originally aren't going to be, 6 icons. Oh, what? So it kind of leads you into it. And then the other cool thing about Magic in general that works for us too is every one of their new sets kind of has focuses. So even though there are 6 trillion different ability types in the game by this time, each set kind of focuses on a couple of abilities. So you'll see certain abilities and get a feel for them as you're playing that.
Got it. All right. Last question. What do you lose if you lose?
Just health. So
Okay.
your character might die or whatever, but then it regains health over time. So you can close the app out or play as another character if you wanted to.
Yeah, or use a health potion
yeah.
or something like that. And the same thing in Marvel, where if you lose, your characters get downed. And if they get downed, you can either wait to have them come back up, or you can use a health pack and get them right back up.
Okay.
eventually.
So you literally lose nothing playing these games. It doesn't
Right.
sound too mean. So there's no reason why you shouldn't go check them out. They sound a lot of fun, really cool, deep games. You guys have been working on this for so long. Congratulations, one developer to another, and
Thank you.
come visit them at their booth
Yes.
and get the free gift.